Greetings. I'm 40 years old and effectively I could retire right now. So what's the motivation for me to make this channel, to convey this information for people? I'm charging it for it, so why do I do this? Well, let me lay down the foundation for the conversation so even the simplest of minds, a potato-brained gaming channel with the attention span of a gnat could understand. And don't take that wrong, I happen to love gaming, a lot of gamers are good people, but a lot of spurgs in that community. I want to point out why I do this, and why I even do it with the low-quality videos I do and all that shit. Anyhow, this is OTR Ogre and Corgi. Let's get into it. Basically, when I was younger, there wasn't anybody in my corner. I was not someone the world really wanted around. I was always looked at with suspicion to some degree. I had a handful of friends, and some of them were cool, some of them were jackasses. You know, there's times people treat you like shit. That's part of life, right? Where I grew up was a very broke area. We used to have a lot of mills and whatnot, jobs, logging jobs, and we lost about a third of that or more, with a third more people being born into the world. A lot more people, you know? So then when you go out and try to get a job, you can't find shit. So I understand what it's like to be dirt poor. I mean, at some point, I could do my recordings of when I first started living in vehicles, and the recordings of the 4 years I lived in the woods. My rent was $100 a month. So the reason I lived as good as I did is because I reduced the cost of living. I had people who used to give me shit for living in the woods while they were getting screwed on their rent. Who's smarter? And like, yeah, but you know, the ladies, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, I said, if the ladies don't like me because of the situation I live in, then they don't like me. They like what I can do for them. And this is something that blows over most guys' heads. Most guys are just fucking, you know, biologically driven fucking idiots, you know. Meat engines. When I get down to it, if I'd had someone like me giving good solid mathematical tactics, like tactics, everybody talks about morals and values, that's all bullshit. And that's nice, okay, they're nice. But without solid mathematical tactics, you ain't gonna get anywhere. You could have the best morals in the world, but you'll just be another broke, poor motherfucker hoping if you don't, you know, get your game together. So what do I mean by that? If you look at the situation, you see people having kids they can't afford, and when they can't afford to feed themselves, seems pretty goddamn obvious it's a bad idea. Now you can calculate kids being raised into poverty, they have more chances of all these different maladies like suicide, drugs, pregnancy, all sorts of issues, learning disabilities, all that crap. So what if you could prevent all these problems just by simply like using a time-based decision-making with mathematical lines of thinking? And you're like, well, I should not do this because I cannot afford it, and I'd be fucking up their lives too. So that's part of the reason I didn't have kids. Other reasons, divorce laws in this country are shit. But then you got down to, you know, paid off, I was about probably, I'd say 27, 28 when I first got a job that was worth a shit. I think I was 27. Because the first 2 years of me paying on that mortgage was just me struggling. You know, I did construction for a while, but that didn't really pan out. Then it was working at Slaver Ready. And then I finally got a job. I had a Class B license before I had my Class A. And I moved garbage for a living. And I lived in a van. Oh, you lived in a van? Damn right I did. You know what? I was able to pay 2% off the mortgage every month. I got enough money saved up. I finally had a job that got me out of poverty. You don't even know how happy moving garbage made me. At first, you know, after a while, everything becomes a baseline job. But I was making God-level money. I mean, I could buy every magic card I ever wanted and all that shit. You know, I could do whatever I goddamn wanted. You know why? Because I wasn't paying rent. And that's why I tell people, get a van and a gym membership. Maybe do a night watchman job. Learn that one from Aaron Clary. Do a night watchman job. And then learn to code or some shit. So you're getting paid to sit there and you just monitor the screens and then do this, learn that. Yeah, you can make it out. Buy cheap property. Like, if you're not, you know, let's say you're going to if you have a plan of raising kids and stuff like that. Okay, you need to get a decent house, but maybe starter house, remodel that, and then flip it, you know, and do this over and over again, get the tax deductions. And before you have kids, obviously have a solid foundation as a man. That way you can support a family. That way your wife doesn't need to work. And if she can work, if she works from home. She takes care of the kids. Yeah, maybe even educate your kids at home. Solid things you can do to change the situation. So the tactics I bring are like, hey, here's how you cook this. This reduces your cost by this much. You know, this is how you save money on rent. This is how you save money on utilities. This is how you do all these things. And you add up all, like, all the different Lions of Ultron, you put them all together, and you add up the numbers, and not only are you saving like easily 30 to 35,000 just in, you know, your basic tactics, you take that all, put it together, and that plus the other 15 to 25,000, somewhere in that range, that you would have made and pissed away anyways, you're up around, you know, 50 to 60K or more. And then you learn how to upgrade to better companies, and bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, every year you can go to some nice little part of America in the sticks and buy yourself your own little piece of land. So, and that's part of the thing, you know, like, I highly recommend don't get a house until you're ready to settle down or live in it. I'd say just get raw land in a state where you got no state income tax. That's a mistake I made. I should have stayed in Washington, because Washington's got free seafood and it's got no state income tax. So I'm paying effectively now $50 a month to the government. You know, like, so you got your taxes and your HOA fee. So, ooh, man, $600 a year, $50. Who's fucking winning is my point. So I didn't make this channel because seriously I needed it, but I made it because I recognized that when I was younger, I did need something like this. So there's somebody else out there, maybe they see it, maybe they don't. I have no delusions of grandeur. YouTube is a fucking toilet. YouTube is a left-leaning toilet where basically if you have the wrong opinion, you get censored and all this crap, and hell, even Google's voice to text fucks up shit regularly. And you're like, I noticed right after you get a factory new phone, it doesn't do that shit until after a little while. Oh, you're one of the bad people. You disagreed with our socialist woke bullshit. We better fucking algorithmically fuck you. And so this is why I put my shit. So by the way, if any of you are getting the idea like, I'm gonna fuck with your channel, whatever, dude, it's already on other channels. It's already on other platforms. Yeah, it's like, you can suck it. You know, it's why, and this is part of the thing. Maybe I'll write a book someday. Maybe not. I should write a book, actually, just as a joke. And why? Just because I'm like, hey, trucking, here's how you do it. And if not trucking, trades, here's how you do it. Here's how you save money. Here's how you save money like a god. And if you save the money, then you can retire younger. Bob Barker, I think, is still alive at, 95, 96 or some shit like that? You know why? Because Bob never worked a hard job in his life, I'm guessing. Oh, he might have done some heavy shit. Maybe he was a gunner in World War II or some crap. I don't know. But the point of it is that I watched a lot of guys from my class, my people, die early grave deaths of heart disease and fucking, you know, strokes and shit. Like, guys that, like, barely got to retirement. Barely got to enjoy that shit. And why? Because they worked their whole goddamn lives away. They worked mostly for statistical shit. Oh, we need a new pickup. Honey needs a new SUV. Let's get a hot tub. Let's get a, you know, big screen that we can't afford. Like, now big screens are dirt cheap, but I remember when they were expensive. Let's get all this shit that doesn't matter, that'll hold us back for the rest of our fucking lives. Versus putting money in maybe into stocks, bonds. Like, you want to see something crazy? And I know I've repeated this a bunch of times, but I'm pointing this out. Go look up the S&P calculator. Put in $200,000 at 35 years and $50 added in every month. It adds up to over $3 million fucking dollars. Do you understand how much money that is for just sitting there? And by the time you're in your 50s or something, you would have been better off putting your college money into that. Working a hard job for X amount of years, and you would have had your retirement already made. So this victory is a lot easier than you think. But hey, I can only help the people that listen. If you choose not to listen, it's a lot like the Lord. I brought the word. If you didn't listen to the word, then what you get is what you get. Anyways, that's why I do it. Maybe it's a little bit of pity for seeing people that were in the same situation when I was in, and if I could save them 10, 15 years of their life to where they could retire younger, yeah, that kind of puts a little smile to my cold, dead heart. Anyhow, this is OTR Ogre and Corgi, and try not to be a potato-brained gaming channel. All right, take it easy.